having babies since the beginning of time.
Yeah. Hi everyone, and thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Giselle, and if you are new, I would love for you to please subscribe. So for today's video, I am going to be doing the mom tag. So Mother's Day is coming up this Sunday, and I thought this would be a fun video to film. So if you are interested, then please stay tuned. Okay, so I have the questions here on my phone. Looks like there's about 19 questions, so let's go ahead and get started. Question number 1 says, how old were you when you had your first child? So I was 20 years old when I had AJ. Question number 2, what was the hardest thing about being pregnant? There were a few things that were hard. I would say in the beginning, physically, I had pretty bad morning sickness, which was horrible. It lasted for a pretty long time. And also I was in school when I was pregnant, and so walking around campus got to be kind of a challenge, especially the bigger I got. And also just dealing with a lot of things. It was a lot of stuff going on at once when I was pregnant. So dealing with school and doctor's appointments and feeling sick, that was pretty challenging, I would say. Okay, question number 3 is, can you think of any good things you enjoyed during those 9 months? I really liked feeling AJ move around in my stomach because it felt like magical. I used to like imagine it was his elbow or his knee that would like roll across my belly. That definitely was a great feeling. And also, people are a lot nicer to you when you're pregnant. I remember just everywhere I went, whether it was strangers or family members or friends, I remember people would give me their seats on the train, you know, riding MARTA, helping me out to like carry things. People just offered to do things for me. People were really, really nice when I was pregnant. Question number 4, in your opinion, were all the things you heard about childbirth accurate or way off? The majority of what I was told was pretty accurate, and I would say about 70–80% of it, you know, turned out to be true. There was a small percentage that ended up just being, you know, personal opinion or old wives' tales, but for the most part, it was all accurate. Question number 5, would you have handled childbirth differently if you could redo it? I don't think there's anything I would have done differently with my delivery. I feel like everything happens for a reason. I know initially that I wanted to do everything naturally. I did not want to get an epidural, and I did not want to have like a C-section or surgery or anything like that. I ended up having to be induced, ended up getting the epidural, and ended up having a C-section. So I don't know, given the circumstances that I was dealt with, I don't know any other way I could have done things differently or would have even wanted to. I know a lot of people, you know, have birthing plans and have very specific ways that they want to do things, but you gotta be prepared for anything. And that's essentially was my attitude, was like I would be down for whatever that would be safe for baby first and then me. That's what I was most concerned about. I guess if there's one thing I would have changed, and this is not even something that was in my control, but my son had his umbilical cord wrapped around his neck twice, and that's the reason why I ended up having to be induced and having to have a C-section. So if I could have changed that, I definitely would have, because that was very scary. But you know, AJ's a fighter, he's tough, so we managed to get through that. So I can't think of anything really that I would change. Question number 6. What would be your advice for someone about to have a baby? I have a few things that I would advise. Enjoy the moments. It's easy for you, especially when you're about to have a baby, it's easy to get into kind of planning mode and always thinking like ahead of time and in the future. Especially if you're not feeling well, you know, you're thinking, I can't wait for this to be over. But I would say that, you know, you definitely want to just take the time to embrace everything. There's no other experience like being pregnant and like having a baby, so you want to just live in the moment. They grow up really fast, and everything from the time you're pregnant to the time you deliver, you know, there's a lot that goes on. And then after you deliver, raising the baby, there's a lot that goes on. So I really try to live in the moment and to be grateful and just be present. Be patient with yourself because there's a lot of things that are going to be out of your control, and your body and your hormones and things like that are just going to start doing a bunch of stuff that you can't really control. Also be patient with other people because while you're going through all of this, you know, you have some people who may mean well, but you know, giving a bunch of advice and giving their opinion on certain things, that could be a lot to take in. While most people's intentions are nice, oftentimes people will give their opinions even when it's not welcomed. I try to just tell myself it's coming from a good place. So I would say be patient with yourself, be patient with other people. Another thing I would advise is just to do your own research and stay true to yourself. A lot of people think that they know a lot of things, and you know, you just want to take every bit of information with a grain of salt. Question number 7 is, what has been the hardest part of being a mom? Potty training. The hardest part of being a mom has probably just been balancing everything. Like I said, I was in school when I was pregnant, so I finished out school with a little baby and then, you know, graduated, moved on to working full time. And just having to be able to balance like all the different roles in my life, and mom being the most important role, that has been the most challenging thing, I would say. And also realizing that like there's only so much that I can do. You want the best for your child and you try to do everything that you can, but sometimes, you know, I just had to realize that I'm not in control of every single thing. Having AJ spend the night with family, or having him go to school, or just having him, you know, get injured or be sick. It's like you want to control all these things, and then you come to the realization that you really cannot. All I can do is my best and leave it at that. What has been the most rewarding thing about being a mom? The most rewarding thing I would say about being a mom is just all the love. Like the love that I have for AJ, the love that AJ has for me, the love that he makes me feel that I can give to other people. Watching this little person grow and develop and seeing the things that I've contributed in helping that growth and development, that has been really rewarding. It's exciting and it's inspiring. I definitely would say that I learn a lot from him, probably just as much as he's learning from me. So all those things are really rewarding to me. What was the most surprising thing you discovered about being a mom? I would say the most surprising thing that I discovered, and I only discovered it after I became a mom. I feel like a lot of people, even people who don't have kids, come to that realization that our parents do so much for us. And it took me having my own kid and realizing the things that go into parenting him beyond cooking and cleaning up after him, but loving him, praying for him, but just caring for a whole nother person. That's a lot. So that's the one thing that really surprised me. It was just like, I had that revelation that, you know what, my mom is really superwoman. They do what they can, but what they're doing in raising children is extraordinary. Number 10, what is the best memory you have between you and your child? I have a lot of fun memories with AJ. We do a lot of fun stuff, and he's just like a fun overall kid. One thing that kind of stands out is I would put AJ to bed, you know, go about my night doing whatever, and then after a couple of hours, I would always kind of poke my head in, you know, kind of tuck him in and give him a kiss, and I would whisper, "I love you" to him. And every once in a while in his sleep, he would like kind of mumble back, "I love you too." He used to do that a lot, and I thought that that was just like the sweetest thing ever. What was the most exciting milestone? I think obviously when he said mama first, that really was so exciting.
Yes.
Mama,
Yes.
Mama,
Yes.
Mama.
Yes.
Teaching him to read was really exciting. Riding his bike, like they're just, honestly, it's like every milestone is really exciting because slowly but surely with each milestone becoming your own little person. Number 12, what was the worst thing your child has ever done? I'm lucky that AJ really hasn't done anything horribly. Like, you know, he's gotten in trouble here and there, but in general, he really hasn't done anything bad. I will say, I think he must have been like 3 or 4, and he wrote on my parents' wall. That's all I can think of though. Luckily, we haven't had anything major. Question number 12 was, what was the worst thing? Oh, I just read that part. Question number 13, what habit do you wish your child didn't have? Smacking food, interrupting when people are talking. Those are it. Those are the 2 things that are just habits that I'm just like, ooh, we are working on that because that's unacceptable. I can't stand smacking, like, at all. And I mean, he's young, so he's still, you know, learning his manners and etiquette, but yeah, those are habits I could definitely do without. Question number 14, do you share any similarities with your child, physically or personality-wise? There's this huge debate as to who AJ looks more like, whether it's me or his dad. I say that when he was younger, he looked exactly like me, and the older he gets, he's starting to look more like his dad. But overall, he's a blend of the 2 of us. He definitely has my nose, my little piggy nose, and I would say he also has like my cheeks, like my smile. Personality-wise, AJ is just his own person. We're the same in our determination and in like our competitiveness, but he's like on a whole nother level when it comes to that. He can be very persistent and very competitive. And also he can be a little bit shy, and I know that comes from me too. I'm kind of shy, but he's way more outgoing than I am. But I would definitely say those qualities. Number 15, where would you like your child to be in 10 years? So in 10 years, AJ will be 17, whether he'll be finishing up school, going to college, whatever it is he decides he wants to do in 10 years, it is my wish that wherever he ends up and whatever he ends up doing, that he'll do it with a happy spirit, with a deep self-confidence and self-love, and also a strong relationship with God. Question number 16, what is something that having a child has taught you? Having a child has taught me just to think differently. It has taught me to prioritize. I think a lot of the things that we do before we have children, or the ways that we think, is very selfish. We care about trivial things and let, you know, pettiness get to us, but then you have a baby and you realize what life is really about. I know that's deep and cliche, but it's true. I feel like the things that used to bother me just don't matter anymore, and that's definitely something that came from having a child. Number 17, did you imagine you'd be a mom at the age you became a mom? No. No, I did not. Number 18, how have you changed as a person since becoming a mom? I've changed for the better since becoming a mom. I've become more confident. I've become more positive in my thinking and the way that I'm living. Being a parent has taught me a lot of stuff. The last question is not really a question, but it says, describe your child in a single sentence.
You is kind, you is smart, you is important.
AJ is an amazing, loving, charismatic, funny, bright, spirited child. So that's the end of the video. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. And I just wanted to say Happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers out there. We should be celebrated and embraced and uplifted 365, in my opinion. but I did want to go ahead and especially my mom, give her a shout out and wish her a happy Mother's Day, as well as all the mothers all around the world. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time.